The General Assembly this seventh week debated, passed, and sent to Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds a new election bill. Nearly 50 persons testified in person Monday, both in favor of or against House File 590, that would change the state's rules for absentee ballots, early voting, and hours polling stations are open on Election Day. More than 1,000 other persons posted their views online.
We are registered in support of this bill and just want to make a couple of brief remarks to outline why that is. Like everybody else in this room, we believe that every voter should have the opportunity to cast their ballot. We think there's a natural tension that happens with policymakers all over the country as they explore opportunities to expand access versus ensure security of our elections. We think this bill strikes the right balance, and we appreciate Chairman Coffin and Senator Smith's work on this effort.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Masher, for this public hearing tonight. My name is Ryan Doctor. I'm the current president of the Iowa State Association of County Auditors and the Sioux County Auditor. My fellow county auditors and I have identified several areas of concern regarding House File 590, and I will speak to three of those concerns this evening. First, regarding satellite voting. The bill, by taking away the auditor's ability to set up satellite voting stations at their discretion, is a great hardship. Consequently, voters would have to petition for all satellite locations rather than the auditor determining the best location so as to not waste time and money on minimally used locations. The effect of this bill may mean an increase in absentee voting at the courthouse or by mail or on Election Day, putting greater strain on election workers. Next, giving the Secretary of State broad authority regarding elections may give that position too much power. Iowa Code already dictates how elections are to be conducted, but giving any further power to the position may have unintended consequences. The bill states that the State Commissioner of Elections shall prescribe uniform election procedures. Uniformity in elections is good, but what is also good is how each county might do something slightly different than another county.
Hi, I'm Emily Russell. Very few things are more fundamental to the success of this country and of this state than our elections, which is why election misconduct is a very serious matter, and it only makes sense that our laws should reflect that. It should be exceptionally difficult for anyone to cheat, and I cannot fathom why that is a controversial opinion in a state like Iowa, where we are often admired for our values. We need to face the reality that after recent events surrounding the 2020 election, many Americans do not have faith in our elections. This should concern all of you because it affects all of us. If we don't start taking steps to increase public confidence in the integrity of our elections now, all of us will continue to live in a divided society. I've seen a lot of people throw around the words voter suppression when none of these provisions are an obstacle to someone voting, and similar provisions exist in other states. Even though I'm a law student, it doesn't take a law student to realize that county elected officials need to be stopped from ignoring election laws, which is something that this bill sets out to accomplish by establishing penalties for this type of misconduct.
65,000 Latinos voted in Iowa in 2020. 90,000 in our community are eligible. 30% of the Latino community in Iowa who are registered to vote are under the age of 30, many of which voted for the first time last year. We need people outside of the family unit to also work as volunteers to help our people register to vote and do absentee ballot requests. Because of the English-only law, we have a number of families who do not understand English as a primary language. So we need help from volunteers. Early voting, the request for a mail-in ballot needs to say where it's at. We can't go less than that. It takes time, especially with young voters. When we look at the amount of registered voters in our community, actually over half are under the age of 40. So again, we oppose this bill in its entirety. We urge you to not support it.
I am Becky Bissell, the Adams County Auditor, and I'm also a Republican. I would like clarification on who can send out an absentee ballot request form. Currently, it states auditors can't send them out. However, your colleague, Senator Tom Shipley, his 91-year-old mother, Emma Shipley, participates in every election by calling me up and requesting that form. She would not be able to do that. Another voter is a 93-year-old who relies on church members to help her through the voting process. Your bill will not allow those members to help her return her ballot to me. Smaller rural counties have a large elderly population who typically choose to vote absentee because of weather or health concerns. Why are we making it harder for them to vote? An 18-day window for absentee voting compresses the turnaround time for mail-in voting. The Postal Service is not adequate nor reliable, in handling mailed ballots, even those with intelligent mail barcodes. It takes on average 5 days to mail something from Corning, where I'm from, and have it returned. This bill removes our ability to use postmarks. To rely solely on the postal system puts our voters at risk. I urge you to reach out to me, reach out to your own county auditor, reach out to our association, and we will all work together to make Iowa a strong leader in the voting process.
Tuesday, the election bill moved to the floor of the Senate as Senate File 413, where Democrats and Republicans remained at odds.
That is why it is so alarming that a bill that was written in secret without input from Democratic legislators was introduced just last week and is now being fast-tracked to the Iowa Senate. It's been said that it wants to be on the governor's desk tomorrow. What's the rush?
So let's talk about what was said during this debate. Because for the people that were listening out there, when we say listening and then people stand up and say things that are totally inaccurate about the bill, this is my chance to set the record straight. So let's talk about the senator from Johnson. I stood here about 3 hours ago and I said, we took a Democrat suggestion, put it in the bill. So it's said on the floor, in secret, no Democrat legislator was involved. That is not true.
Wednesday, the election bill returned to the House, where Republican Representative Bobby Kaufman was floor manager.
While I appreciated a robust debate, and I'll always appreciate a robust debate, I literally ran out of ink in one of the 2 pens that I have, writing down what I would characterize, in my opinion, as false characterizations of what's in this bill. It is really easy to vote absentee and early before this legislation. It's going to remain really easy to vote after this legislation signed into law. This vote protects Iowans' right to vote, and it adds certainty and security to it. This bill does not suppress one single vote. Repetition does not create reality. Let me say that again. Repetition does not create reality. You don't get to say something so many times that it just magically becomes the case. This bill allows for 493 hours of early voting time for Iowans. That's 3 weeks. It does not pass any common sense test to say that you cannot vote in 493 hours.
Have you all now voted? Clerk, close machine. The House pay attention to results of the vote. Those voting aye, 57. No, 37. Absent or not voting, 6. The bill having received a constitutional majority is declared to pass the House.
At her Thursday news conference, Governor Kim Reynolds was asked about the election bill that now is on her desk.
Well, I think, I haven't had a chance. We're reviewing it right now, so I'll probably give you the same perspective that I give when you all ask where I weigh in on a bill. It goes through the process. I don't weigh in unless it's one of the bills that I'm sponsoring. And then once that makes it through both chambers with the same language, it's sent to my office. My team does a thorough review of the bill, and then we set down pros, cons, what it actually does. And so we'll be in the process of doing that, and we'll take a lot of the conversation that happened throughout the legislative process.
Week 8 of the General Assembly begins Monday, March 1st.